So when now, yes, in the last session we discussed lot of thing about it. From that particular discussion only, I have a question. When can we use microservices architecture? When can we use microservices architecture? Now, if you have to answer this question, what is your answer? I am asking your answer only, like, right? When, like, what is one situation according to you that at that situation we should use microservices architecture? When we want to use CI/CD. What is CI/CD? That we can say, but on a normal practical level, when you are working on different tech stack means if you join a company, it is possible that they will hire you for Java, but they will ask you to work with Python. It happened with me also. So your
This
for
meeting
front
is
end
being recorded.
HTML, CSS, JS, it's common in all. When it comes to library and framework, you can work with React. If you are working with React, you can either work with React plus Bootstrap. You can work with React plus Bootstrap plus Tailwind. This is one combination. When it comes to database, you can work with MySQL or Postgres, right? And Oracle, when I'm saying MySQL, Oracle is also included anyhow. When it comes to backend can be handled by Java plus Hibernate. Either you can use Java plus Hibernate, or else you can use entire Java plus Hibernate plus Spring Boot or plus Spring Boot. This is one tech stack that you can use, right? This is one tech stack. Now, if your company can work on this tech stack. Second one is same, where instead of React, you can use Angular. Here, you can work with MongoDB also, like not MySQL and Postgres. Here, preferable is MongoDB. And here you can work with Python plus Django. Here you can work with Python plus Django. This is one tech stack. I'm telling you highly used and popular one. So this one is less popular out of all. Very less popular actually. Then this is the on the third or fourth position. Second one is here you can use Angular, but same database along with you go with MongoDB. Backend can be handled by using C# plus .NET. C# plus .NET Core. This is one tech stack. At last but not the least, there is one more tech stack, and is HTML, CSS, JS, React, and here database will be MongoDB. It will be MongoDB, and backend will be Express and Node. Backend will be Express.js and Node.js. So they are the four tech stack. Now all of them are having their good things and there as well as the bad things also they are having. No one is perfectly fine. So if I have to give first, second, third, fourth, according to my experience, my knowledge, And again, I am saying my experience and my knowledge, whatever I have seen. First, second, third, and here Python comes on fourth, right? Because the Django is not that much scalable and it is slow also. So this is the favorable tech stack of big companies. Java, Hibernate, and Spring Boot you will see everywhere. Now let's say the question was when we can use microservices architecture. So the first answer is when you have different tech stack and different teams. Different tech stack means, let's say Amazon is building much of 80% of the Amazon is written in Java, but 10% they are working in Python also. Now in a Spring Boot project, can we write Python code? No, not at all. We can't write. In the same way, it happens there that whenever you have different tech stack or you have lot of money, there is the only two possibilities that we can use microservices architecture when we are working on different tech stack and we have got a lot of amount to invest, because generally microservices are expensive. So there are two to three condition. You have different tech stack, you have lot of team, like you have a big team and multiple team, and as well you have the lot of amount as well. These three things are there, go with microservices, best option. If you have, there are three things. First is different tech stack. Second is multiple and big teams. Multiple and big teams. Third one is lot of higher amount. Now, if you have all three, then only you can go with microservices, and then only it is a good choice as well. That okay. Now, let's say you have different tech stack, but you don't have big team. Don't go with microservice. You can't manage it. If you don't have different tech stack, what you will do with by going to microservices? If you don't have higher amount, don't even think about microservices. Very expensive, right? There was a article that I read few days back. I will show you monolithic versus microservices cost comparison. There was a US article. Not this one, but let's read this. I missed that article somewhere, but there was a comparison that if monolithic architecture is costing you $100, microservices will cost you around $220, almost double. But speed also got increases of development. You can generate more revenue also. But for small case startups, revenue is the second thing because they are still building them. So this is a ideal use case that where we can use the Eureka server. Now we are going to build a project, not project, just a small prototype, because lot of project we have already done, right? So we are going to see how to implement microservices architecture in a practical way. Okay. For that, let's open the website, that is start.spring.io, and we will generate a Maven. Already we generated that day, but no problem. Let's generate it again. Right. So Java Maven, and here The name I will keep as sender. One project will be a sender and other one will be a receiver. So what exactly is microservices? You will have more than one Spring Boot app talking to each other. That's it. That is microservices. If you have two different apps, if you have different app, one and two, if they are able to communicate with each other by any medium, generally REST APIs or HTTP methods that you call, that is a clear communication. That's it. That's a microservice architecture. You will build different services at different place. That is what we are going to see today. So the project name is sender and group ID I will keep as com dot sender. Same project name. Here we'll keep microservices project. Microservices project. 32. We'll add the dependencies. First, of course, Spring Web, very obvious. Second, we will create add for Eureka Discovery Client and will convert Eureka Server. These two dependencies I will add Eureka Server and Eureka Discovery Client. Let's generate the project. So we'll talk about Eureka Server also. Last time also we have seen a little bit theory that it is helpful in discovering the services that are running. So first let's extract it. Sender project is already coming here. Now let's got open our Eclipse. Now we'll try to load the same project that we have just now created. That is sender project. Okay. So project is created, that sender project, it's coming here. We'll open the main file and just like that only we will try to run it. So last time when we were trying to run this app, it was not running properly. After adding the dependencies here, it was not running properly. So something like that it was telling us, right? And yes, it is not running again. It is fine, no problem. Remember then that when we were using the dependency of data JPA, it required connection with database. But okay, you are using it as a starter, just give a connection. Here you are using the Eureka server. What you are using? Eureka server. You have to configure that. For that, to this class, I will give a annotation at first. I will give enable Eureka server. Right? What I will do? I will say enable Eureka server. Right? From where it is coming? org.springframework.cloud.netflix.eureka.server.enable Eureka server. It's coming from there, like no problem. Now let's try to run it this time. Now we have enabled the Eureka server. Let's try to run again. And this time project did something which was not doing last time, and again it produced one error. Right, this time also it did some lot of things. After that it has produced the errors. No problem, we will just read the error. HTTP URL connector dot apply, something like that. And here getting all instance registry info from the Eureka server and service URL. It means that if you are running the project, this will be the URL http:/localhost 8761/Eureka. By default is this one. No problem. What we will do is, you can see this resources section, right? This, in that there is one file as application.properties, right? Or else let's do one thing, as this is the sender one. So it is having the dependency for client and server both. So you can do one thing. You can remove this client one from here. Just for a minute, I am removing the client dependency. So let it get built first. Just a out of the box question, like not related to this. Have you heard about npm and yarn in React? npm and yarn. So both are the package manager. So this npm stands for node package manager. Node package manager. And this yarn stands for yet another resource negotiator. Yet another resource negotiator. So accordingly, you might have heard about HTML, XML, right? What is HTML? It's hypertext markup language. XML, extensible markup language, but you might not have heard about YML or YAML. What is this YAML? It is yet another markup language. Yet another markup language. You might not have heard about KML. All of these are markup languages only, and we have their different uses actually. Right? We have their different uses. So why I am discussing these things? Because YAML is something that we are going to use now. That we are going to use now in this Spring project. So project is completed. Okay, it is downloading. Let it download first. So YAML is something that we are going to use in this. YAML has short form, that is YML, right? We'll see that. It is yet another markup language. By the way, it is used whenever you are using the Eureka server for registering the services, and so that other Spring Boot application can find them. Okay, that time we use YML. So still there's a problem. What does mean yet another? Nothing. It's just a normal name, yet another. Because already we have npm, but then yarn was introduced. So already we got a package manager. Why we got yarn? So they named it yet another. This is another one, right? This is another one where we do the configuration of Spring application in this application dot properties. Here only we will create a new file that is gonna be application.yml, right? We'll do once project is done. Okay, now let's try to start the application again. This is sender application which is enabling the Eureka server. That is fine, no issue, right? And when we are running it again same, no problem. Close the server and restart. So this time also, like, it will throw error only because we have to configure the Eureka server, but it is trying to do lot of things. Now how to configure it? So there are again multiple method. There is not one choice. One method is you can create a new file inside this src main resource. Here in the src main resource, because configuration you write here itself, and create a new and file. So you can name it application dot yml. But you can create application dot yml file. So you will see that it is actually coming like with the same symbol, right? Symbol is same like application property, so you can create that. So first thing I will change it. Let's say I will say server colon, and I will say port colon, and here port I will say 8761, or not like this. Wait. Server colon, or else let's try to change one thing. We are not using this application.yml for now, right? Let's delete it. What we will do, we will try to configure our application.properties only, because till now we are working with this. So I will say server dot port equals to 8761. Why this? Because when we are running Eureka is telling us that I need this particular port by default. So we will set the port number to same one. And then I will say Eureka dot instance dot host name. Eureka dot instance dot host name, that where you are hosting your application. Why we need to tell these things? Because one Spring Boot will communicate with another Spring Boot, so you have to tell them correctly. So here value you can write local host, that we are hosting it on local host, right? That we are hosting it on local host. So I have provided two things, server port number and host name. Let's try to run the application and see the changes. And this time something different is going on, but yes, again there will be something like this is going on, right? And again we ran into the errors, but no problem. Errors are like we have to discover other things as well. So if you see this process is actually running. Process doesn't close till now. So what we will do is we will try to fetch that link, that is localhost colon 8761. On this port, this is coming, right? On this port number, what is coming? It means that localhost 8761 is working. Why it is working? Because man, you have configured it in eureka.inst, like this one. These two things you have written. I'm not teaching you YML this time, like now, because you don't know anything about it. From day one, we are doing configuration in our application, so do it here only. It's not a new thing. There is an option. You can do here as well. YML, you can ignore. So when I'm running localhost 8761, this is what coming. Just read the things. So this is Spring Eureka. And here we got home page last 1000 since startup. So it will show you last 1000 details about it, right? And here you can see March 17 2025 7:45:06, sender is desktop LH5223G, sender 8761. It means that it is actually telling my port number and my laptop number. So this is the Spring's Eureka server, which will actually helpful in communicating between them. Now what else we can do in this project? So let's first close it. Server closed. Now whatever errors are coming, these are coming because of the client party. So that also we will set here. So he will say that eureka dot client dot register with eureka false. I will set this value to false. Then again I will say eureka dot client dot fetch registry. This is also false. Now I have made these two values as false. Now let's save this and restart the application. It means that if you are using Eureka, everything is done by itself. We just have to annotate it and do the minimal configuration. Everything is handled by. And when I did those two things as false, what is the change? This time, no error, right? This time, no error. What if we are trying to fetch 8761 again? The port number, let's go there and check. Running fine, right? It is running fine. By the way, this is your IP address 192.168.2913. You know how this IP address is created? 192.168 is the internal normal address. 192.168 is the normal address. Every IP address will have this. After that, 29.13. 29 means the network address. Let's say I am using LAN cable, don't know which company it is, either Hathway or either Airtel. So this is the network number of that, and 13 is the my number. Let's say 20 devices are connected to that one Wi-Fi. I am the 30th device to be connected to that Wi-Fi. So this is the meaning of IP address here. So something like this we have done, right? We have done this particular part. Now what we will do is we will create another Spring Boot project, and that we will create as receiver. That we will create as receiver project. And what dependencies we will add? So Maven 3.4.3 Java. Spring Bev is optional here, you can keep it. And client we will use, server we will not use here. So let's generate. Server is this one, right? And let's open it and extract. But how we will run both the application at same time? Different? It will close it, right? So let me tell you, it is a better option in IntelliJ that you can run more than one Maven project or Spring Boot project at one time. But anyways, one for Eclipse, one for IntelliJ we will use. But in IntelliJ, there is an option that you can use or you can run two Maven project at same time without any problem. So let's go back and I'll close this project. We'll copy the path then. So this is the receiver project. I'll just simply open it. See, personally, I have worked a lot with IntelliJ because in companies it is only used. So here you are seeing this M option. Let it get load first, then I will show you. So here you can see this Maven and there you can see this plus icon. Add Maven project. Here you can add the project and parallelly both at the same time you can run. That's a different case. We'll see the things. Now this part is working as the server which will send the or which will be able to manage the communication from second, third, fourth, fifth Spring Boot tabs. I'll just show you that how it is gonna done. So let's, okay, now in this we got src main java and this is our main file. This is our main file. Okay. Now what we will do is we will do a minimal configuration in this. What we will do a minimal configuration because last one was a server. This one will find that server. So here we'll say enable discovery client. Enable discovery client because this time you have to discover a service that is already running or a server that is already running. Last time what we did, enable Eureka server. This time we will do enable discovery client. Right, this time we will discover that client. After that again we have to do the configuration here also. So we will go to main resources application.properties. I'm not teaching YML because you don't have any knowledge about that. So simply we will go here. Let's say server.port equals to 8081. Something like that you can keep. Now from Eureka, I will say Eureka dot client dot service hyphen URL dot default zone. What I have done, Eureka client service URL dot default zone, like at which link Eureka server is running or simply a Spring Boot server. So here it is running. If I try to check /Eureka, So here it is telling that slash Eureka is not available, and it is telling that localhost 8761 it is running. Emergency Eureka may be incorrectly claiming it. Okay, no problem. Just hit the refresh button and you'll see that no instance available, like something like that it is telling. Here we have to configure it that where is your particular value. So equals to, here we have to write the value. So our it is running on http colon double forward slash localhost colon 8761. On this link our Eureka server is running, right? That I have registered here. Second thing that we have to register is Eureka dot instance. Last time also we did it, but last time we did it for Eureka dot instance or host name. Who is the host name? This time we will try to find the IP address. So Eureka dot instance dot prefer hyphen IP hyphen address equals to true. Address equals to true. Now this is what I have done. Now what you can do is in the base package only, this one you can create a controller or like hello controller, main controller, home controller, anything. Here I have created a class as hello controller. Now if it is a hello controller, it should be a rest controller. It should be a rest controller. After rest controller, I will say at the rate of request mapping, that whenever someone is trying to say slash API, whenever someone is trying to say slash API, this class will be called. Inside this class, nothing, normal public string function we will create. Let's say public string hello function I am creating here. Inside this hello, I will return some string that this is a microservices project. That's it. Now we'll attach a mapping over this. So here you can say get mapping. When someone is trying to say slash, it's a hello controller. So slash hello. That's it. Right? Now we will, it should be hello. Now we will just run this project. So go to main file, this one, and we will run this. So here it is doing something like that. It is saying with some errors, no problem. This particular application will be running on, where this application will be running on which port, and which one we have defined for it, localhost colon 8081 slash API slash hello, and some spelling mistake is there, colon. It should be localhost colon. This is a microservices project. Okay, but what is the use of here? We'll go to Eureka server and we will just refresh the well. And here it is showing us something. Or do one thing, we will restart the applications one by one again. Because Spring Boot, let's close this. And here also we'll close this. Both the sessions we have closed. First, let's start the server. So it is running fine. Let's go and refresh it here. And we got these things. Okay. So total available memory 87 MB. Number of CPUs, 4 CPU are running. 57 we have already used. This is like this we have done. Here, let's attach slash Eureka 8761 slash Eureka and run the application. So what I will do, let's just start the application here. So this time it is not throwing any error, right? So we'll go there and first refresh. This link is working. And here we will refresh the Eureka server as well. And here you see something. Instance currently registered with Eureka. Receiver availability zone 1 status. So Eureka server got to know that there is one Spring service or a client running at desktop on the port number 8081. Now you have two different projects. First of all, there will be a server which will be managing all of them. Now, how to manage? Each and every application should be pointed towards this link. This one. Eureka.client.service URL.default equals to this link you have to keep. And Spring application will be able to communicate with them. How? All of the things will be managed from this Eureka server. All the project will be managed from here. Now, what is actually affecting here? Do one thing, I will refresh this and refresh this one. Again, refresh this one and refresh this one. So is it making any changes? So we'll say no, not at all. But there is one service already registered here. Now, what is the benefit of this? The benefit of this is this receiver application is having a get mapping of slash hello with the API. Means at first you have to write localhost 8081 slash API slash hello. And this particular part will give this value. Let's say this is returning data from database. This API is returning data from database. So how you can access that data? Using the Eureka server. Because first data will come to this. Then it will send the data to other Spring Boot application. From some application it will collect the data and to some of the application it will send the data. So can we say that it is a connector between the two? Yes, it's a connector between the two. As this is a free server, so here like already 87 MB we got, 44 already we have used. Now here you can see server uptime. Server uptime means from last 3 minutes your server is working fine. Which server? Eureka server. But this project is started from a longer time. No, it start counting your server when a service is registered to you. When a service is registered to you. This one. What if I close this server? What if I close this server? That receiver server I have closed. Now obviously this will not be running, right? So of course it's not running. Eureka server, no instance value. This is used to communicate between multiple Spring application and that's it. So this is now if you want to create a project, you can create multiple different applications. Now what I will do, I will simply run this application again. This time I will not fetch any API. This link I will not fetch. Simply I run the application. So let's get it started first. Created. Now, if I just check my Eureka server, and here this part is, but this time is the urgency. Eureka may be incorrectly claiming instances are up when they are not. Renewals are lesser than threshold, and hence the instance are not being expired just to be safe. It is telling you that you are trying to rerun one Spring application again and again more than it is active. Threshold means active, renewal means you are restarting the server. So this is how microservices work, right? This is the working of microservice. What if we have different Spring Boot project? So no problem. Remember the configuration. These are the client configuration dependencies. That's it. Server port number here by default it will 80. These are the client ones, and these properties are for the server like this. That's it. By using these things, you can create a microservices project, and it will be working fine also. There is no problem. Now,